can't hold this head up.
Okay.
All right, this
We're
is a
going.
home interview, Argyle, New York. It is the 11th of March, 2005, approximately 10:30 a.m. Interviewers are Wayne Clark and Mike Russert. Could you give me your full name, date of birth, and place of birth, please?
Full name is Joseph L. Randles, Jr., and I was born the 2nd of January, 1922,
Where were you born?
Glens Falls Hospital.
Okay. What was your educational background prior to entering service?
I had 3 years of college,
Where did you attend college?
Cornell.
Cornell, okay. Do you remember where you were and your reaction when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
Yes, I worked for my meals, and I was going home to the place where I lived when it came through that Pearl Harbor had been attacked, and of course we were all about the same age then. We said, well, that's going to be it. And a lot of my friends in the Ag College disappeared, and I was determined I was going to finish college, and so I didn't disappear.
Mhm.
So when I got on to 1A, was that the draft?
Yes.
I hit that about July of 42, and I sort of wanted to be in the Air Force, and my folks weren't too thrilled about that, but I got the applications already and had them sign it. I was going to get in the reserve at Cornell when I was going to finish up my education. Well, I got back September, I forget what day, but the next day my greetings came from the draft board, so that sort of boxed the whole works up. Could have joined the Navy. They'd take you, whatever your rate was, you could go in the Navy, but I didn't think I cared about landing on boats in the ocean. I figured I'd land on the ocean and not on the boat. So I saved my thing and got drafted into the infantry. And of course, as soon as I got to where we were at a base, I started peeping that I'd like to join the Air Force. Well, I said, finish your basic training, which was 13 weeks once I got started.
Where did you go for your basic training?
Camp Blanding, Florida. And so I was patiently waiting to get my application in for flight training. And one day I was trying to dig a foxhole, and a little lieutenant came up to me and he said, why don't you go for OCS? Well, I said, I don't care for OCS, but I would like to go in the Air Aviation Cadets. He said, well, take your application right in. So I did, and it got accepted, and I passed the physical and got sent to Miami Beach, and for Air Force Basic, which was a joke after the infantry basic.
So you had to go through basic training twice then?
Yeah, well, the second time was a sort of a la-di-da. And then we got sent to Clarion, Pennsylvania, to a college training program. It was for the Air Force, we were called aviation students. And it was a five-month program, but we only could get 3 because they just, when the place opened up, they'd ship them out. And I got married in Clarion, Pennsylvania, and we got sent finally to Nashville to a distribution center, and then got sent to Solomon Field in Monroe, Louisiana, and that was for navigation school, and we had 13 weeks, I think, of primary, and must have been about 3 months of 3 or 4 months of advanced.
Now, was your wife able to go with you?
She was with me in Clarion. She came down to Monroe after the first part. She had a job teaching, so they weren't too anxious to let her go. And she was in Monroe, and of course we could only get a half hour off, it seemed like, at a time. And
Now your navigation training, what type of aircraft were you on?
we're on AT-10s, and I got a book here that describes them. They were two-engine training plane. There were 4 of us on the airplane, 4 students,
Mm-hmm.
cadets, because by that time we were aviation cadets. And there was a pilot who was somebody that had experience, and sometimes there'd be an instructor, but our instructor, there were 4 of us, or 3 of us anyhow, and our instructor got sent to the ATC, that's the Air Transport Command. So we do most of our flying on our own with just a pilot. And one of the guys I flew with, and aviation cadets, we got together and we stayed together the whole rest of the war. He's died now. I still correspond with his wife. And then we graduated from navigation school on the 3rd of July, 1944. I think that's, yeah. When did the war end?
45.
Well, we must have got out in 40.
45 it was in
Yeah. It's far enough away I'd forget. Anyway, he got sent to Boca Raton, Florida for radar school. And at that time, radar was a very quiet. You weren't supposed to say anything on a radar, and after that you didn't say anything. Because the folks around here, I had to give 3 references that knew me, and I got home on a leave soon after that, and the people I'd given, wow, you're really into it, you know, we know you're doing something special. We can't talk about it, and you can't either, so by that time radar was getting more common. But anyway, that passing that got me into B-29, and I was sent to Alamogordo, New Mexico, and assigned a crew, and we flew there in B-29s for till December. Then we got shipped out to Great Bend, Kansas, and my wife came to Great Bend, and we trained there in B-29s,
Now, did you ever fly in like B-24s or B-17s?
Yes, when there was not a airplane available, we'd go on 17 or occasionally B-24.
What plane did you like the best overall?
Oh, the old B-29.
Uh-huh.
It occasionally I dropped one as one of the pilots said we'd give them back to the taxpayers. But they were as safe as any, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But they were a nice airplane to fly in. They were pressurized and big. They were the biggest thing flying at the time. And we got sent to Puerto Rico for training in the dead of winter because Great Bend had a little touchy weather, what with wind and rain, and I had fun there. We were supposed to fly a mission where the Navigator did the bombing. Well, I wasn't Navigator then, come to think of it. I was a radar operator, which was different. We had a kid for a Navigator. And one day our bombardier we had was a first lieutenant, and he goofed up. And my airplane commander said, if you goof up, I'm going to court-martial you. So he goofed up and knew better, but we got sent back to Great Bend post-haste, direct, and this kid was navigating, and I was trying to keep up with the radar screen. And the radar was touchy, especially in the training planes. They'd work for a while and then they'd not work, and sometimes you only had 15-mile range on it. But it was a good thing to navigate with. So I kept track of him on Dead Reckoning, DR. And we crossed the front right over Florida. When you cross the front, you change wind direction, changes quite drastically, and I thought he'd probably correct into it, but he never did. So we got up over central United States there somewhere, and I finally found us on a piece of the Mississippi River. So I asked the navigator, where was he? And he said where he was, which wasn't there. And so that time the airplane commander came on, says, where the hell are we? So, the navigator owned up to where we were. No, I guess he asked me. I said, we're about 100 and some miles east of Great Bend. Well, get me a heading in. We don't want to go anywhere else. So we got in, and we were back in Great Bend for a while and got picked 3 crews out of our flight that we had set up. It was in the 333rd Bomb Group, and they picked 3 crews out to send overseas. So we, of course, thought that was great. And the 3 airplane commanders were all captains. And we figured they probably had too much rank for the amateurs that would run the 333rd. But we got sent to Tinian. And the other 2 crews were not in the 504th Bomb Group, but they were still on Tinian. We were in contact. We see each other. And see, where am I at? I got to Tinian.
Now, did you fly over to Tinian?
We flew on ATC from San Francisco as Air Transport Command, and they assigned us to the 504th Bomb Group, our crew, and we flew a few
Few missions.
missions, not messages, and the war ended. We got sort of a kick out of it. We were flying, we flew mining missions, go up, drop mines, pressure mines in the Uwata, one place, and they'd have to look in the book to get the rest of them. We only had 4 missions, I guess, when the war ended.
Were all of them mining missions?
All of ours were. Well, I take it back. The one mission I flew on was a Super Dumbo. They put 2 navigators in a big boat on a special B-29. So when they were up over Tokyo or wherever, if they got shot down in the Tokyo Bay, they could drop that boat, and or if they got in trouble with the engines shot out or something, they'd have another navigator to navigate the wounded plane back to wherever, usually Iwo Jima.
Now, did you fly mostly on the same plane or different planes?
No, we were sort of stepchildren on 504th. They trained in Kansas and shipped over as a unit, as a 504. We were essentially replacement crews.
Okay.
And
Could you explain how how large were the mines?
well, we got 10 of them on the airplane. We had 20 tons of ammunition, not ammunition, mines.
Were they the type of mines that were round with the points?
No, they were just, we dropped them in the water, and supposedly when a boat went over it, they'd set it off.
Okay.
And
Now, how high or how low did you fly to drop these mines?
about 5,000 feet, which was great for the Japs. They shot, naturally, they didn't approve of our being there. And we were lucky we never got hit on anything, but I sure figured we'd come back with a few holes in the thing. Of course, I was busy trying to navigate or keep records, and they got us in searchlights, and this stuff was flying up around us. You know, you could see the tracers going by if you looked out the window, so I didn't look out the window.
So these were night missions?
Yes. And the sort of amusing, the co-pilot was sort of well, he admitted to being what do you call it, scared. Naturally we all were, but he said, "Oh, searchlights, searchlights, searchlights," and the airplane commander, of course, sitting next to him said, "Shut up." So he didn't say anything anymore after that. We landed in Iwo going back one time because we were low on gas, and we got back, and one of the crews that was shipped from Great Bend with us took a shot through the back end of the airplane, and it cut all the control cable to the tail section. it happened to go right through the radar operator's chair, right up through, but he happened to be over by one of the gunners watching the action from outside. Anyway, the pilot got it back to Ewo, flying with the engines, control engines. When he got to Ewo, he couldn't land the thing. So he said, well, what do you want us to do? And he said, bail your crew out and ditch it. And so he got all the crew that could swim. He bailed them out over water, and the ones that couldn't swim, bailed them out on the land, Ewo, ditched the airplane. And so my friend, one of my Navigator friends, was on the thing, and we didn't know anything about that because it was just after they dropped the atomic bomb, and he got quite a kick out when they was fishing him out of the water. He said, hey, did you drop the automatic bomb? The Navy guys. So we picked him up, and part of his crew, and flew him back to Tinian. He got a charge out of that. Did you drop the automatic bomb?
Now, were you aware at all of the atomic bomb before it was dropped?
Not really. It was dropped from Tinian. It was the same base we used.
Right.
And there was some of the air crews were talking with some of the 509th, I think, was a special group that dropped the bomb. And before they dropped it, they said, they are bragging that they got a bomb that'll wipe out a city. And everybody said, ho ho, there's been too much beer. And lo and behold, they knocked out Hiroshima. And so after that, we believed them.
What did you think about the atomic bombs at the time?
Good thing. We were very happy because we knew that would wind things up. Another one of those would wipe Japan right off the map.
And whereabouts were you when the war in Europe had ended?
I was Great Bend, but I was trying to think, we did an overnight somewhere. No, that was another. We're in Great Bend. We knew we were not going to the European theater at all because, and so that was sort of an aftermath as far as we were concerned. We knew we were going to get into something else. And so we were happy that the European war ended, but we were more happy when the Pacific War ended.
Now, did you wear a flight suit at all?
Yes.
Could you describe it? Was it the fleece-lined ones? Or?
No, we were pressurized,
right.
So we didn't have to worry about being cold. I had a flight suit as like a pair of coveralls, and I had my I had a chest pack, or I was changed over to Navigator when we got shipped out of Great Bend, because my airplane commander didn't quite want to go with the kid we had, and they assigned me to something else, but he says, I'm not going unless Joe goes with me.
Did you ever wear a flak jacket?
Yes, we had one. It really held you down.
Did you wear a Mae West at all, or?
Yes, I think I had one of them when they were over water.
Now, when did you guys ever decorate your jackets at all?
No.
Do you still have your jacket?
No.
No.
I got rid of most of my stuff. When the war was over and we got shipped to Okinawa because the 504th was dismantled, I guess, and we got shipped back to our original group, and so we were in Okinawa, and my father was not well, and the doctor said, you can just as well get a Red Cross trip home because you had to have points to get out, and half the crew got out on points, but I didn't have that many, and so they were going to ship me home on a Red Cross trip, and they were at that time flying airplanes home to get rid of them. Too bad, but they did. And so the pilot, one of the crews that was flying airplanes back, came up to me after I got rid of all my stuff, because I was probably going on Air Transport Command, and he said, would you fly Navigators home so we fill out the crew? He couldn't fly an airplane home because he was in the same boat we were. If you get home, you get discharged. And so I said, sure, I'd be glad to. So I navigated from Okinawa to San Francisco, coming back. And then I got across the country and got discharged. My father was not that sick. He was not in danger of anything, but his doctor said, you know, he can just as well come home. And he certified whatever he had to do.
When were you discharged?
March 1946.
Did you ever make use of the GI Bill?
Yes. I went back and finished up at Cornell, and that was in a GI Bill.
Did you ever use the 5220 Club?
Nope.
Did you join any veterans organizations at all?
The American Legion, and now recently I joined the AMVETS, but that's the extent.
Does your bomb group or your Air Force group ever have any reunions?
Yes, the 504th, my airplane commander got wind of a reunion of the 504th bomb group, and where was it? In
90, it was Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and we went to that one. He stopped in on his way there and picked us up.
Came up from Florida to pick us up, to take us to...
Ah.
And then we went to, 3 reunions after that. And they still have them, but we're getting too old.
Have you stayed in contact with any that were with you?
The crew, I kept track of the crew, the ones that are living.
How many were in your crew?
13.
13. How many are still living? Do you know?
About 3.
3.
The co-pilot, which I haven't contacted, he's the oldest one. Turns out he's the oldest one on the crew, and he's must be 86 or 88 by now. And the rest of them are pretty well thinned out. I also contact the Navigator that was fished out of the water. We we're together for a long time. We have seen each other. And who's the other? The tail gunner. He and his family. I talk with them on occasion. And the right gunner. I see him. I talk to him on the phone. I guess that's about it. That makes 4 counting me.
How do you think your time in the service had either changed or had an effect on your life?
Well, it sort of built up my self-confidence, I think. Once you get through as much as we got through, you figure something's going in favor.
Now, did you have some photos and memorabilia that you wanted to show us?
Well, if you're interested in
Sure.
looking at it, this is the history of the bomb group, and they got a picture of the crew in there.
Okay. If you could find a picture of the crew, I can zoom in on it with the camera.
See if it opens up to it.
I see you've got a paper in there marking.
Yeah, that's something else.
You need anything?
Just trying to find the crew.
I used to have it memorized what page it was on.
You probably have a picture in
Yeah, here it is. I used the cover for a book.
If you want to maybe hold it up.
Want me to hold it up for you? Or can you?
Probably be better. I shake.
Where is the?
This is our crew, Effinger crew.
Okay, which one?
This.
Okay.
Now, which one are you in the?
I think I'm the one right there.
Which one? Which one, Mike?
Right here.
All right. Okay, got it.
I don't know what. This is mostly junk. Yeah. What's in there?
Just a bag. So.
Oh, that's from one of the reunions.
Okay.
So there's the crew.
All 3 of these are your crew?
I think so. Yes, it's all the same. 2 of them are the same picture.
Yes.
Okay.
And where were these taken?
I think that's in Okinawa. When we got shipped there, we flew there, and about a week or 2 after we were there, the typhoon went through.
Oh.
It had 200-mile-an-hour winds. Somewhere there's a picture of a flagpole
Okay.
Bennett right
Did that damage any of your planes at all?
No, the airplane commanders were all shipped. Just put that stuff off to one side. The airplane commanders were put on the airplanes and the wind was blowing hard enough that they'd turn it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was facing into the wind all the time. The rest of us were supposed to be in tents, which, 100-mile-an-hour wind doesn't do a tent much good.
Now, were these all pictures taken on Okinawa?
Yeah, I think so. The destruction. The co-pilot had a camera, and I talked him into giving me the negatives.
Okay. These shots any of the planes?
That's, yeah, they're here. Oh, is that you?
Could be.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, these are photographs taken out of your plane then?
Yeah, I
Some of
think
these?
so. I haven't looked at them so long, I forgot what.
Okay.
There's some other from. Let's look. Now, is this one out of the Bombay or out of,
And I don't think so.
it's an aerial photograph, and then there's one of flak, it looks like. Maybe just out of the.
Okay.
Those are nice ones. Showing the different designations. 504th Bomb Group. Looks like the 20th Photo Lab insignia.
Yeah, it could be.
Just
Yeah,
the other one still. Okay.
This doesn't have these listed what they are.
No,
Different insignias of different units.
squadron.
Squadrons, okay.
Okay.
Here's some good ones of B-29s.
Mm-hmm. Nice one on the cover.
Okay.
Now those hats are from reunions that you went to?
Yes. Seattle was the big one that the Boeing put on a big deal on the 50th anniversary of the B-29. And we were from all over on that one.
Now was that the insignia of your bomb group?
No, that was, well, it could be. What's this one here? Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I got hats enough here. There's one of the reunion. That's got names on the back.
This is your reunion in San Antonio, 1991.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of our name tags. I don't know what gem is in here.
This hasn't been opened in a while.
No.
A lot of paperwork, flight reports.
You did it.
Yeah, it just looks like a lot of flight reports and so on.
Orders and stuff. What you can find in the 504th Bomb Group in the back. Index. My wife came to Great Bend, Kansas, and she had to have a pass identification to get in.
Oh, is that your wife's identification?
Yes.
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
get in the
I was
base.
going to say if you want to hold that up, I can focus in on that. Okay, got it.
All right. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Do you have any pictures, Joe, of, when we were down at the Puniac Spring? You know, another version of, India,
I do, but they're not here.
picture of Don or,
Okay, this is a shot of Japan. Okay. Okay, got it.
Coastline.
which one's this one, the coastline, Joe?
I don't
Looks like
know.
that's Japan also.
Somewhere in this empire.
Okay.
Looks like what you get in your medical reports.
Yeah.
Now, you fellows gone around different states and different